Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And where we are is we're actually across the road from the old Abbey ruins that I showed you in an earlier wee video, and we're now at another old Abbey. Only this Abbey is now part of the Church of Ireland, and it's used as the Church of Ireland. And I would like to thank the gentleman who lives in the house here for allowing me to film here. And so this is great, and I've been informed that these coats of arms are actually from the family who were the Earls here. And so that's the Earls of Dunriven. And so it's great to have these. And I see the gentleman there. I'd just like to thank you, sir, for allowing me to film here for the Church History Trail, and also for the bit of information that you were able to give me. That was fantastic. What's your first name? Kevin. Say hello, Kevin, to the viewers.
Right.
Just give a shout out to the viewers. Say hello.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And hello.
Thanks very much. And so it's great to be able to film here, and you can see the other coat of arms as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So,
You've probably covered everything.
oh well, I'm just actually starting to film now. Is there anything around the side there? No?
No, just a road.
No worries. That's great. Thanks very much. So I'm going to take you for a wee walk, and we're going to explore a wee bit of this church. Again, it was great that the gentleman has allowed me to film here. It's absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a wee bit of the information here, because there's a wee booklet, a wee leaflet here that I got in the church, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's a brief history of St Nicholas Church. And as I say, it was a former Augustinian friary in ADARE, and it was founded in 1315 as a friary of the Augustinian order. And this site was one of 3 monasteries founded in ADARE in medieval times. And then for the past 200 years, St Nicholas has been home to a Church of Ireland congregation, which is part of the Worldwide Anglican Communion. And this Augustinian friary then was founded by John Fitzgerald, who was the first Earl of Kildare. And the monks were called the Black Friars because they wore black habits. And you can see the tower there. And so it's fantastic to be able to film here, and it's a fantastic building as well. Now, therefore, the Augustinian friars, as I say, they were called Black Friars because they wore the black habits. And the abbey itself then was called the Black Abbey because of that. And a portion of the current church, the cloisters, walkways that formed the centre of the monastic building, and I will take you in there, and also the refectory, which is a hall where the friars at, or what remains from the original buildings. But we also have a doorway as well. And then for 200 years later, in the 1530s, King Henry VIII of England, he destroyed the monasteries in England, Ireland and Wales in the dissolution of the monasteries. And the Augustinian friary was then dissolved. And it is possible that the friars continued to stay on in the friary after this, but were driven out sometime between 1567 and 1585. And the Augustinians on O'Connell Street in Limerick actually trace their origins to the friars here in Kildare. And this is the original doorway of the old church, the old Abbey, the old church across the way, the old St Nicholas church across the way, which I filmed in, which is where the old graveyard is. And so that's the original doorway from that, and it was moved over here, which is absolutely brilliant. So we're going to go in and have a wee look inside. So there you go. That's inside. And these buildings actually sat in ruins for about 250 years. And in 1807, the site was granted to a small Church of Ireland congregation. And that was in ADARE. And then that congregation included descendants of some Palatine refugees from Germany. who had moved to the area in about 1708. Now you can see the pipe organ. And many of their descendants actually still worship today at St Nicholas. And in 1807, the congregation was worshipping at the old St Nicholas Parish Church in what is now the golf course. And as I say, I've done a few wee videos over there. You can see the stained glass windows as well. So absolutely fantastic. And so the restoration of the friary actually began then in the early 1800s. And it was thanks to the Dunriven family, successive earls of Dunriven, who owned the ADARE manor and also restored the village of ADARE. So this is fantastic, isn't it? Now you have to watch. I've been told there's a couple of wee mice about here. So we have to watch out for the mice. Just to warn you in case you don't like mice. In fact, I see one of them here. There's one of them there. It's actually at the bottom of the pulpit here. Look at that. You can see him. That's a wee wooden mouse. A wee wooden mouse, so it is. And look at that window there. Isn't that absolutely marvellous? Fantastic. Beautiful. Look at the floor too. Brilliant. So I'm going to take you back up, and then I'm going to take you round by where the cloister is. I looked at the cloister. The cloister looks absolutely brilliant. You know, I could just imagine the likes of Martin Luther or some of the monks. Of course, Martin Luther was an Augustinian. You could just imagine Martin Luther walking round the cloister. So I'm going to take you there. But before I do, I want to show you a couple of wee things here. And then we're going to wrap this wee video up. And the first thing I want to show you is this monument here, this memorial. Because it says here that the memorial was erected by William Barry of Shannon Grove, I think that is, a squire, in memory of his father, John Barry, a squire, who departed this life September, and it was 1722, September 14th, 1722, age 56 years. So that's wee memorial is from the 17th century, the 18th century, sorry, the early 18th century. And then there's a cross here as well I want to show you. And it says, Morris Fitzgerald, Irish Guards, died of wounds 19th of the 4th, 2018. And this cross, which was the original one, marking his grave at Luz, I think that is, in Belgium, has been replaced and is now placed here in loving memory. So that's the original cross of this soldier of the Irish Guards who died on the 19th of the 4th, 2018 in Belgium. Isn't that fantastic? Absolutely fantastic. So thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail, and in the next wee video we're going to look at the cloisters, so make sure you tune in for that one. God bless.